Well, hi, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here at the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you today with a kind of a reading update, like a Friday reads, except for it's Monday. That type of video. Just wanted to talk to you about what's getting accomplished here at the Ruttenberg Library, because the good Lord knows I've got a lot of books and I need to get to reading. So I have been doing some of that over the last, been about a week and a half since I made that last update video, I think. Or maybe it was a week ago, maybe it was two. I can never keep track of these things. But anyway, I just wanted to talk to you about what I finished, what I'm working on now, what I'm going to be getting into next. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. So, again, over this last week or so, I finished 6 different books. Now, keep in mind, I didn't read all of the 6 books in this last week. A lot of times I got a lot of books going. If you're new to the channel, sometimes I have 10, 12, 13, 14 books all going at one time. I'm kind of a mood reader, and so sometimes I feel like fiction, sometimes I feel like nonfiction. And then also it kind of just depends on what time of the day that I am reading, because I read nonfiction much better in the morning versus in the evening, where fiction usually takes over. So that's kind of how things work here at the old library. But yeah, every one of these books, I am excited to say, every one of these books that I have finished and that I'm currently working on are for different projects that are going on here at the library. Lots of reading events going on around BookTube right at the moment. And I've been trying to dip my toe into, just a little bit of everything. I haven't gone headfirst into the pool in any of them, just because I like to, read a little bit of everything. So what have I finished? So with this being, what are we, 2/3 of the way through August now, we are in the middle of Garbogust, a reading event put together by Criminali, where we read nothing but garbage for the entire month of August. Now, like I said, I've just done a couple of different books. This is my second one. The first one I actually finished in July, so I don't even know if you can count that. But I went on vacation to Washington, D.C. with some of my students, and I finished up the first book, got it started like a day or two before I left, and I just read through it because it was real good. The second one that I have read for Garb August is Don Pendleton's The Executioner, so featuring Mac Bolan. I read Ice Wolf, and it was an interesting book. I don't know that it's anything special. I have 3 or 4 others that I bought. I don't know that I'm gonna be chomping at the bit to jump right into another one. They were okay. They're guy fiction. They're an adventure series. They're shoot 'em up type books. And I guess I'm just probably not really into this style that much. But I did finish it because I heard, there was a couple different channels over the last couple of years that have read some of these executioner books. I think Criminali was going through and reading a whole bunch of them. And I'm kind of a weirdo. I found that during this book, the part where there was not action was way better written than the part that was action. And I think it's just because I just don't like this type of book all that much, or maybe I just don't like how this author did this type of book, because I've read other books that are like this that I did like. So the basic overall story here is it is all based around the United States, the Soviet Union, Cold War tensions during the 1980s. Gorbachev and Reagan are about ready to meet, and there are some people who are going to make an attempt to assassinate the 2 world leaders, and then get the United States and Soviet Union to fight each other, and then they would come in and clean up the rest. That's essentially the storyline. And Mac Bolan, the executioner, has been brought in to figure out what's going on and to fix everything behind the scenes before it happens. And that's the basic gist of the story. I just wanted to read a couple of lines here to you. You'll get the idea of what I'm talking about. It says, and I'm on page 144 of my copy, says acrid smoke cut with some kind of gas that irritated the sinus membranes and throat and spilled from the hallway. Rapid poppings of a 5.56 millimeter ammunition punctured the roiling artificial fog. A man wearing a gas mask stepped forward and took shape against the smoke. Bolin leveled his .44 as the man raised his M16. A double onslaught of 240 grain skullbusters ripped through the gas mask and exploded out the back of the man's head. Before the man's body hit the carpeted floor, another goggled face materialized in the thick smoke above a blossoming flower of muzzle flashes. I mean, it is just chock full of this type of writing, which I don't like. I guess I'm not a gun guy. I have nothing against gun. I mean, you do your preference. You do you. I'm not a gun owner, and I've never, even when I study my history stuff, my military history, my kids will start talking. We'll get into World War II, and we'll start talking about, different aspects of World War I and World War II, and they'll start talking about all these different kinds of guns, and I'm like, I have no idea, guys. I am not an expert in this, and I probably don't want to be an expert in this. And so it's just that style of writing, and I just don't like it. It's like it's like the writer's trying to cram in as many different types of guns as he can within a single paragraph, and it just, I don't know. I feel like they're trying to measure up, and I just, So, I think I gave it, a 3 on Goodreads. I mean, it was okay. Not my style. Next book I finished, and I finished this one yesterday, was Hondo. And this is from June on the Range. I'm a little behind with my summer readings. I've gotten quite a few books read. I'm behind on some of them. And so I finally got Louis L'Amour's Hondo read. This was really an excellent book. I think I gave it a 4 on Goodreads. I really enjoyed it. By the way, if you don't follow me on Goodreads, go check it out. It's under my name, Bill Ruttenberg, just like my channel name. So anyway, a little plug for myself. I was very happy to find this. I found this within the last couple months. I found it at our local community center, and it's like in pristine condition. No creases. The cover's in perfect shape. The pages aren't really yellowed or anything. Real good shape, except for they put a stupid sticker on there, and I went to pull it off, and I ripped the cover on accident. I thought I could get it off of there, and it just, and so yesterday my daughter and I, we decided to try to fix it, and we took some markers, and the yellow did okay, but then I got down here and I really messed it up. But, if you look at it from a distance, it doesn't necessarily draw your eye like the white would have. So, mission accomplished on that. Anyway, Hondo, really good book. Highly recommend that one. Hondo Lane, he comes in and comes upon a farm, and there's a lady and her son, and the husband's nowhere to be found. He comes in, does all the manly chores around the ranch, and then ends up going off. And of course, there's Indian fighting going on in the book, or Indians about ready to attack, and so he's worried about the family. He ends up falling in love with the woman, and then you get this feeling in the first third of the book or so, maybe even up to almost about halfway, that the husband's dead. I mean, it's very strong. Louis L'Amour hints that the husband is dead. He went off with the army and didn't make it back, and we find out otherwise, later in the book. I don't think that's much of a spoiler. I won't tell any more about the book, but it comes down to Hondo's got to grapple with his conscience. What do you do about the husband? And the husband's not that great a guy. You really don't like the husband. And so what do you do with the husband? How do you deal with the Native Americans who are roaming around the area? And of course we come to a resolution at the end. And good book, highly recommend it. So I finished that one. I also finished yesterday this book, Free Baseball by Sue Corbett. This was an awesome. This is a middle grade book, maybe upper elementary to middle grade book. They call it the Junior Library Guild Selection, so a junior book. Really good about a kid who was born in Cuba, and him and his mom defected, and they came to Florida, and they're living in Florida. The dad is a famous baseball player for the Cuban national team, and the dad was not able to come along for the trip, and we don't know why. We don't know all the circumstances until towards the end of the book, and then we really get into what the life of a Cuban refugee is like. And the whole story is about the boy. His name's Felix, and Felix loves baseball, wants to get to know his dad, who he's never really met, and it's all about that, a young man who's needing a father figure. And anyway, he goes to a minor league baseball game and ends up getting involved with one of the teams and becoming a bat boy, and he helps out in the locker room and does all kinds of stuff. And there's the typical conflict between the youth and his mother, an authority figure, but there's just some tension there between the two, because his mom wants to tell him everything but doesn't think he's ready for the whole story of their family. But anyway, it's a really good book. This one I've been telling you, so I did Garb August, I had June on the Range. This one is for my own personal project where I'm reading YA books or middle grade books that the kids would be reading in class, and this would definitely be something some of my kids would really like, and I think they could really get some good messages out of this book. Sue Corbett does an excellent job. What did I give this one? I think I gave this one a 4 on Goodreads, I think. I really enjoyed this. Highly recommend it. If you're a middle grade teacher or middle grade parent, that would be a good one if your child is into sports or into baseball itself. All right, the next one that I finished was Agatha Christie. That's another project I got going here at the library. I'm trying to read through all of Agatha Christie's works. I am trying to do it chronologically. That's not always the case, but I'm trying to do it chronologically right now. I've read all of her 1920s work. I'm working on the 1930s. I think this one was 1933. Let me check to double check, make sure. Yes, this is 1933. Obviously not this copy, but The Hound of Death. And what this is a collection of short stories by Agatha Christie. They're more along the lines of like ghost story type things. Let's see. You just have to look for the signs, omens, haunted houses, seances, nightmares, split personalities, disembodied voices, all kinds of good stuff going on in these short stories. This was really good. I really, really enjoyed this one. I'll be honest, I can't remember if I gave it a 4 or 5 on Goodreads, but really enjoyed this. Highly recommend that one, BookTube. Nice, 10 to 12 page stories for the most part, and pretty easy to follow. And I did have one that made the hair on my arm stand up. It was kind of cool. And I liked, I think, all but maybe 2 of the stories. 2 of the stories were but the rest of them were pretty good. And so highly recommend that. So that's for my Agatha Christie project. Here's another one for my middle grade project that I got going, where I'm reading, all the books my kids might be reading at school. This one's called Survivors. Earthquake San Francisco, 1906, by Kathleen Dewey and Karen A. Bale. Really enjoyed this. It's probably, I think I gave this one a 3, though. It was nothing special, but I do like what they tried to do, obviously centering around the earthquake itself, but then it was also talking about, in San Francisco, the different, we'll call them boroughs around the city, different ethnic groups that live in the city, and so one of them's a Chinese girl, and the other one is I think if I remember right, he was an Irish boy, and just talking about the conflicts between the cultures and the different expectations and the gender roles of the time period. And I thought they did a pretty good job showing that throughout the story. It was an all right book. I enjoyed it. Fast read once you get to going on it. Again, I think I gave it a 3, though, because I don't know that it was anything special. I don't know if it's one that I'll read again. Not that it was bad. It was a decent book. Just I don't think it's something that's I'm gonna pick up again. But yeah, there's that one. And the last one that I got finished was Nathaniel Philbrick's Bunker Hill, A City, a Siege, and a Revolution. This is a very, very good book. Did I give this one a 5? I may have given this one a 5. I can't remember. I love Nathaniel Philbrick's writing style. That's what caught me. I always love his books. His books are almost always a 5 for me, just because I like his writing style. He takes a story, he gives you all the details, but he puts it in a narrative form that really it makes the storyline move along very, very quickly. And you don't get, even though he's using primary sources like letters and journals and stuff like that, you don't get bored with it at all. He keeps things flowing, and I really enjoyed it. He takes it from right before Bunker Hill, the build up to Bunker Hill, and of course all this, with it being Bunker Hill, it's all staged around the city of Boston and the value of the city of Boston at the beginning of the American Revolution. And then there's a couple chapters about Bunker Hill itself, and then it talks about the after effects of this. And he hits several major characters in this: Joseph Warren, George Washington, the Howe brothers, Henry Clinton, Thomas Gage. I'm trying to remember here. He looks at the letters of the Addams family, and that would be Abigail and John Quincy. Looks at their letters. I know I'm missing some people, but anyway, he really hits on all the important stuff. He didn't miss out on anything, and I think Joseph Warren. George Washington is going to take a major role in this afterwards, in the second half of the book after Bunker Hill. But throughout most of the book, Joseph Warren is your primary character that he kind of centers the story around. And so, yeah, highly recommend that BookTube. That was really good. And I read this one. This one goes with Historathon 2024 third quarter readings, where we read books, history nonfiction, from the year 1500 to 1820. And so this fit in perfect with that. Really enjoyed this. Highly recommend it. All right, so that's all the books I finished. Now, these are the books I've been currently reading this last week. Again, I'm trying to get through some of my smaller volumes that I've been working on. And the next Agatha Christie for my Agatha Christie project is Lord Edgware Dies. And I think this is another 1933. Let me double check. Yeah, this is another 1933 story. And I finished chapter 4 this morning, and basically Lord Edgware's wife is looking to do away with Lord Edgware. She's wanting a divorce from him, and there's some argument between whether the divorce could happen or not. They bring in Hercule Poirot to act as he is sent to Lord Edgware to ask for this divorce, and Lord Edgware's saying, yeah, I've already said I would divorce her. I understand, but she's not getting any of my money. And so the next chapter that I am getting ready to read, chapter 5, is murder. So the murder's about ready to take place. Hasn't quite taken place yet, but it's about ready to. So I'm guessing that story is going to take off. Another one that I dipped into this last week, because I finished The Hound of Death, I went into my the new bedside bathtub and armchair companion to Agatha Christie, and I read the selection that went with The Hound of Death. I've been doing that as I've been going. So this one, if you're following on Goodreads, this one hasn't moved along very fast. That's because I wait until I finish the story, and these are all in chronological order. So I've only done the ones that are in chronological order, not the ones that I skipped ahead on. And so I've been, reading them. So this one only moves ahead like a couple pages at a time. When I get done with this, I'll read the next couple pages that go with that story. So I did read a couple pages in that. This one I started last night, and this is the last book that I'm going to get finished for Summer of Sport, which is a reading event that was put together by Mark over at Book Time with Elvis, and he had several of us co-hosts. and we were reading books all about sports. It could be fiction or nonfiction, but it was supposed to kind of coincide with the Olympics this year. And so we had lots and lots of selections in that very first month, the month of June. So this runs from June, July, and August. So this is the last month of it. We had lots of different selections going on. We had a really good book chat where we were all, talking about, all of us co-hosts got on there and we were all talking about what we were reading, and thoroughly enjoyed doing that. But then Mark had to take a little bit of a hiatus from YouTube, and I'm sure or from BookTube. He's gonna be back. I watched a video of his this morning all about his house that he's getting built, and he's doing the finishing touches on his house. And so his life has been very, very busy, and he's a school teacher just like me, so I totally get why he did a timeout on BookTube. And so he, I believe, plans on coming back. I think that's in the works, but he's getting some stuff done with his house first. So our Summer of Sport event, long story short here, our Summer of Sport reading event kind of slowed down, took a back seat for probably just about everybody except Steve Donahue, who is still reading a book a day. That guy's amazing when it comes to finishing books. But anyway, this was my last selection for this. I have another one that I'm in the middle of, but I think I'm going to take it to school and use it as my read at school. But this is For Love of the Game by Michael Shara, and so many of you have probably seen the movie for this with Kevin Costner. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. I absolutely love the movie, and I bought the book a long time ago and then realized, you know what, I never read it. I read a whole bunch of other famous sports books. I picked up, let's see, what's the other Kevin Costner? Field of Dreams. It's not Field of Dreams, though. It's Shoeless Joe. And I read that, and I read, The Natural. There was a whole bunch of them I read there a while back, and I bought this one. I think I just ran out of time, and this one was the next one in line, and so I finally picked it up. I'm not real far in it. I just read the first section, the first 32 pages, and so this one I will finish this week. I can guarantee you I'm going to finish it this week. It reads fast. It's a small book, but this will be my last one for Summer of Sport 2024. It also counts towards my opening day project, where I read a baseball book a month for the Major League Baseball season. So this is going to also double up and count for that. And so I knock off 2 reading events at once. But this is all about the story of Billy Chappell. Chapman's what I wanted to say. I don't know why, but Billy Chappell, who is in his 17th year of pitching in the major leagues, and he's been one of the all-time greats for a long time. He's only played for one team, and now he's at the, heading towards the end of his long career. And I just got to the point where he's been unofficially informed that they're looking at the team he's played all his career for is looking to trade him and try to get some money out of him before before all of his abilities are used up, which they're at that point. So there's a love story that goes along with this, and that hasn't developed very much yet in the part that I am on, and so I won't talk about that too much. But his girlfriend of the last 4 years did not show up for their date the night before. He's about ready to pitch his very last game of his career, or what could be the very last game of his career. He's got to make the decision. Do I retire as one of the all-time greats, only playing for one team my whole career, or do I try to prolong this thing and stretch it out over the years, probably being traded from team to team to team, like you see a lot of people do nowadays? So really good story about love for a woman, love for a game, obviously For Love of the Game, the title of the book. Thoroughly enjoying that. I know I'm going to like that. I love the movie. And then I also have, now I don't have a book copy of this, I hope to soon, but I am reading Napoleon by, hang on, I have another book by him. Oh gosh, what is his name? And it's not here. Of course it's not here when I need it. What is his name? Give me a second. Napoleon by... It's not this guy. I'm going blank. I'll put the name down below. Anyway, or I hope I'll remember to. Reading the biography of Napoleon, and I don't have a book copy of it yet, and it's pretty good. I am not very good with European history, like in-depth European history, and so I wanted to read that to just broaden my horizon. And so I've been reading that. And the other one that I started, and by the way, that's for Historathon 2024. This one is for Historathon 2024, and I just got it going this week. We're doing a buddy read. Me and John David and several others are doing a buddy read and communicating through Voxer, and we are reading Robert K. Massey's Peter the Great. And super excited about reading this, and I am not as far as I wanted to be. I'm in chapter 5, the Great Schism, and it's good. This author does such a phenomenal job of setting the scene, putting together the setting of the story, and it reads like a fiction book. I'm really enjoying it. I'm just a slow reader. That's my problem. I'll have to finish chapter 5 today to stay on the pace that I wanted to, so I can be ready by the weekend and be where I need to be. But the last chapter that I read, holy moly, Peter the Great, he's 10 years old, and there's an argument over whether he should be czar of Russia or not, or should it be his half-brother Ivan. And there's an uprising, and he ends up getting put in as their co-rulers. And the amount of bloodshed and the extent of the violence that happened during that little rebellion, it makes you just shake your head, makes you want to vomit, and makes you want to hope that never ever happens again. I mean, they're chopping off arms and legs and feet and hands and heads and sticking people on pikes and what else did they did all kinds of things, and it was all over fighting for the leadership of Russia. And so very interesting story, some stuff that I didn't know happened. So very glad to be reading Peter the Great by Robert K. Massey with John David. And of course, on our Voxer, we've been jokingly going back and forth. All of us are enjoying it. And we're like, we're going to have to get Catherine the Great out next. And I'm like, I want to, but am I going to be able to get that done? So I don't know. But throughout the week, I hope to finish those couple books, those couple smaller ones. And then I have... let's see, what is in the works? Red September is a new event that's being put together by Christy Lewis over at Dostoevsky, I can't say the name, in space. And there's a bunch of co-hosts. I was watching Peg's channel at the History Shelf, and she was doing an announcement video for Red September, and I think I'm going to partake in that. I have a Sheila Fitzpatrick's very small volume on the history of the Russian Revolution from 1917 to 1932, I think is the time frame she's working in. And I think I'm going to read that for Red September. And then, of course, and I don't know how I'm going to get this done, because this Peter the Great book is probably going to take up a lot of time. But I also hope to be reading, and I've told you I'm going to be reading The Great Bridge by David McCullough in September. And so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully everything goes well. But yeah, that's about it here at the Ruttenberg Library. How's all your reading going? Is everything going well with you? I know my next big event in life, we got beautiful weather right now, which is good. We got football season for my middle school kids starting this week, second half of the week. And we got school starting. Today is a virtual day for all the teachers, a day to get all of our trainings, our online trainings, which are, I hate doing trainings. But anyway, got all those done last week, actually, so I'm good to go. But I'm going to head up to school after lunch and do some work in my room. And then all the teachers are back for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we have kids on Friday. And so, another exciting school year about ready to start. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the Major League Baseball season. My Kansas City Royals, woo, we just got done sweeping the Reds, and we're looking to hopefully continue playing very, very well. Bobby Witt Jr., woo, doing awesome, and hopefully we make, right at the moment, we are in the playoff run here for a wild card, and hopefully we can continue playing well so we can get that wild card spot. And it's a huge turnaround. I think last year, what did we win? 56 games the whole year. It was a terrible year. And but you could see little bright spots the second half of the season last year, and it's all looking good so far this year. Obviously, could always use some more wins, but when we look at last year, it's a huge improvement. So I'm looking forward to seeing how my Kansas City Royals finish out the Major League season, excuse me. And so, yeah, that's what I've got going, BookTube. Hope everything's going well with you. Yeah, so till next time, happy reading.